everyone, this is Paul Gale from paulgalenetwork.com, and thank you for joining me today for video game sales. It is February 17th, 2022, and in today's video we are going to look at the hardware and software charts out of Japan, courtesy of Famitsu. These charts occupy that February 7th through February 13th time frame, and we are going to begin with the hardware side of things. First up, the number one best-selling console of the week was the Nintendo Switch, which sold 118,065 units. In second was PlayStation 5, which moved 6,418 units. Xbox Series came in at third, selling 5,955 units. In fourth place was the 3DS, which did 360. And in fifth was PlayStation 4, which moved 4 units. Some interesting things this week. Not so much the ranking, as that's been the usual for a while now, but the numbers themselves per console. If you look at Nintendo Switch, it did a whopping 118,000, which is up quite significantly by 26,000 or so over last week's total of 92,000. What's more important, though, is that it's also up over last year's respective week of 109,000 by 9,000. Now, I gotta say, I think it's because of Pokemon Legends Arceus, but you're going to see something when we get to the software side of things, and that is that, Pokemon Legends Arceus is actually continuing to decline, as is to be expected. Most games aren't going to sell more and more in their second and third weeks, right? And that's certainly not the case here. The game is going down as is expected. But I think that the word of mouth in Pokemon Legends Arceus is so high, so explosive, so many people are enjoying the title that people are buying the Nintendo Switch at a greater capacity, at a greater percentage than normal prior weeks to play this game. Now, it's still not enough to make Arceus, drop by a tiny percent or even go up. And if anything, there probably is a case of some physical stock shortages on the Pokemon Legends Arceus side in Japan and potentially elsewhere in the world. But regardless of that, we are seeing growth week in and week out on Nintendo Switch hardware, and that's pretty awesome to see. Will this continue? Probably for a little while at least, but I don't expect that Nintendo Switch hardware in 2022 to top 2021s or 2020s, but I do expect it to top 2019s at the very least, and who knows, maybe it will top 2021. We'll see. But it's a good start for the year. If you look at where we're at right now compared to 2021, for this point in the year, which we are 6 weeks in or so, we've got 825,000 year-to-date sales, and last year at this point, 1,073,000. So we're definitely behind. It's not like this makes a giant, difference. It's 9,000 in favor of 2022, but if this continues to happen, that gap may narrow, and I think that overall Nintendo Switch has a stronger, healthier outlook for 2022 in terms of big releases that, based off of what we know with the likes of Triangle Strategy and Kirby and Bayonetta and The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and Splatoon 3, software is a given that it's going to be higher. But could these releases give enough jolts of energy to the hardware side of things that it's actually a better hardware year than 2021? Maybe. But regardless, very good, very healthy growth on the Nintendo Switch side of things. PlayStation 5, spoke too soon. I didn't say yeah, it's a guarantee. I feel like Sony's definitely going to be shipping, 15,000, 10,000 every week. I was saying it would be hopeful, wishful thinking perhaps, but possible that they found a new base in 10, but likely they would come into a stock shortage at some point in time, and that happens sooner rather than later. 6,400 is quite a drop from previous week's 16,000, which, if you look at the last year, 22,000 versus 6, definitely far fewer. Probably Sony is getting ready for Horizon Forbidden West and knowing that, the game's going to sell better in Europe and North America than it is in Japan, allocate more stock towards those countries, and then we'll deal with Japan a little later. It's kind of too bad though, because they had a good thing going for a little while, and Below 10 is pretty bad. When you get into like that 2,000 territory, it's kind of laughable. But at least 10 is a somewhat respectable number. Like, I think if you do 50 every week, that's awesome. That's good. Great. 10 should be the bare minimum, in my opinion. But hey, they pumped out several thousand, 6,000 sold. Hopefully, Sony can keep the stock momentum healthier. And I'm not saying it's easy. I know, we're in a pandemic still, even if it's the tail end, hopefully. So that's a thing. And the chip shortages, I get it. A lot of new components outside of the video game industry are all using the same nanometer chips. So you're not seeing just this impact on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series, but other platforms as well. And on the Nintendo Switch side, there also is a stock shortage component too, but just not felt as great. Uses a little bit older architecture, so it's not as in demand of a chipset, for instance, some of those parts. But yeah, let's see Sony bump it up a little bit. Xbox Series, that was awesome. Look at that growth. Look at that sense of confidence that Microsoft has in Japan from last year's 136 to this year's 5,955. We are getting close, and we've come across this before. It has happened a couple of times before, I should say, where the Xbox Series total and PlayStation 5 total were really neck and neck, with PlayStation 5 still outdoing Xbox. But there was a chance a few times that Xbox Series S and X combined could have outsold PlayStation 5 for that week. It just hasn't happened yet. But this is just about the closest it's been, at least in quite several weeks. If Microsoft pumps out just a little more next week and breaks into that 7,000 category, and PlayStation does similar low 6s or high 5s, you'll officially have a week that, for historical purposes, the Xbox beat PlayStation in PlayStation's home country of Japan, which is kind of wild because, back in the day when PS2 was gobbling up everybody in the market, elsewhere in the world and in Japan, you would have never really thought like, oh yeah, there's going to be a day where Xbox is going to beat PlayStation in Japan for a week, right? But here we go. So good to see, pretty much neck and neck with last week and a lot higher than last year. 3DS a little over last week's 264. PlayStation 4, down in half to 4 from last week's 8. Overall, a cool chart. We're seeing some, we're seeing some Nintendo domination, but we're also seeing some success out of Xbox. So props to them. It's kind of disappointing that PlayStation can't get out as many, but where you're a little bit bummed, like, Sony's not pumping out as much as you'd want them to, at least Microsoft is kind of making up the difference and saying, hey, there's more than just Nintendo in Japan. Now, you have to give ultimate props, ultimate respect to Nintendo for really taking care of everyone. You don't see a massive shift in just United States, just North America getting them and forgetting about Japan. Nor would they. That's their home country. Then again, it's Sony's home country too, right? But Nintendo's really catering the markets, the types of games they're making to, reach that broad appeal. Titles that are doing very well in the European market, in Australia, etc. So Nintendo's definitely off to the best start in the 9th gen so far. So let's see how it continues. Moving on to the software side of things, this February 7th through 13th timeframe, we have the best-selling game of the week being Pokemon Legends Arceus, which sold another 140,149 copies physically. Now you see what I was talking about. It was a 61% drop from the previous week, which is significant, but it's still a big number in itself. Could it have done more if there wasn't any type of stock shortage? Probably. Now, I'm not saying it's sold out in stores across Japan, but there are some stores definitely reporting that they are sold out. So we could have a greater percentage, but we just don't know about it yet. On the eShop side of things, people going digital. But I bet that a lot of these new Nintendo Switch owners bought the system for this game and are picking this game up hand in hand with their new console. In second place is Mario Kart 8 Deluxe with 15,515 copies sold. I said this was going to happen in last week's video and other videos ever since Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and its DLC was dropped. I think the game's going to continue to sell, and not just well, but better in some weeks over the prior because of that awesome 48 track announcement. People that might have been holding off on Mario Kart 8 saying, like, I played so much of it at friends' houses, or I'm one of the several million that had it on Wii U. I'm just going to wait till Mario Kart 9 to buy it. Now might be thinking, okay, looks like we're not going to get 9 for a while, even though I've played quite a bit of 8 and I'm tired enough of it that I like it, but I'm not inclined to go buy a copy of myself. Now it's like, well, this is a whole new game's worth of tracks. 48, right? Doubling Mario Kart 8 Deluxe to 96. Now's the time that if you jump in, if you're already an NSO expansion pack member, you're getting the game plus these other 48 tracks for the price of just the game itself. And if you have to get expansion pack or buy that DLC on the side, it's only $25 for 48 extra tracks, which, you know, is a fraction of the price of the game's normal $60 value, but doubling the tracks. So it's really tremendous value either way you look at it. So I definitely anticipated a bump in sales, and here we have it. It'll be really interesting to see on the NPD side of things when we get those results, you know, mid-March from Matt Piscatello from the NPD group. How did Mario Kart 8 Deluxe do in the month of February in the United States, thanks to this announcement of that DLC coming? So that'll be exciting to follow. In third, Mario Party Superstars, which did 14,812 copies. In fourth, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, which moved 11,134. In fifth, the PlayStation 4 version of Dying Light 2 Stay Human, which did 10,306. In sixth place, Minecraft, which on the Nintendo Switch version sold 9,784 copies. That one got an 8% bump from the previous week. In seventh place is Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Pokemon Shining Pearl, which moved 8,163 copies. In eighth place, Animal Crossing New Horizons, which sold 7,779 copies. In ninth place, Ring Fit Adventure for Nintendo Switch, which had a 5% jump and also did 7,652 copies for the week. And in 10th place, a new entry, Otome Game no Hametsu Furuga Shika Nai Akiyaku Riju ni Tensei Shite Shimata Haran o Yubu Kaizoku from Idea Factory. For Nintendo Switch, it did 6,676 copies. That was a mouthful of a title, I'm not going to lie. And hopefully I said it okay. That was a split of 9-1. 9 games on the Nintendo Switch, 1 on the PlayStation 4. We saw the PS5 version of Dying Light fall out of the top 10. Last week it debuted in there, so it's probably in the top 30. We'll get the top 30 chart at a later time. Thank you to Chris1964 from the InstallBaseForum.com forums for putting this chart, both the hardware and software side of things, together in a nice way. I appreciate it. Always a good community, always a good site, so I recommend checking it out if you like video game sales data just like me, all right? Okay, so I think that's going to do it today for Video Game Sales with Paul Gale Network. Thank you for watching. Hope you had fun. I had a good time dissecting things and, you know, seeing the trends. It's going to be cool looking forward just how well does Pokemon Legends Arceus do long run throughout the year. What's its legs like? What's Mario Kart 8 Deluxe going to do? How is Horizon Forbidden West going to do both in Japan and worldwide? I expect that one to be a multi-million seller easily, especially because it's on PlayStation 4 with that big install base too. And, you know, PS5 version should do well, despite there being a little bit of controversy with how the $60 version versus $70 version is being marketed back and forth. But people are going to still eat it up. It's still going to be a worthwhile title, I think. It looks to be of very good quality. And, you know, the next big game that I'm looking forward to sales-wise, in addition to Horizon, is Elden Ring, and of course Kirby next month. And also, to an extent, Triangle Strategy. I don't think that one's going to set the world on fire in terms of sales and become this 5-10 million seller, but it should be an easy 1 million if you look at Octopath Traveler and see how well it did. And on the hardware side of things, next week will be interesting. Could we get an Xbox topping PlayStation week? Could Nintendo Switch keep up this momentum and have another week that's up from this one or up from this respective week last year? Time will tell. All right, thanks again for watching. PGN signing out. Hope you all have a good one. Take it easy. Bye.